present would you like to be with? Type it away the whole time.
Repeat that if you want.
Yeah.
The thing I said was flow, because on the message, the impression I don't want people to get is that there's this well-organized, laid out, perfect recipe and process and formula that you have to follow. Like, absolutely not. There's structure, there's foundation, but the real takeaway is getting into flow. Getting into flow is the game. That's the takeaway. That's the key impression. That's the hard part to market.
Correct.
And you got to represent that appropriately, tactfully, and methodically, and with respect to marketing. But that is when you really get into it. It's like, great, now test it out. Now try it. Now explore a little bit more. See there, go there. Recognize that, yeah, to the extent that that makes sense. Now there's this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really interesting.
AKA real life, real wellness, reality.
Mm-hmm.
There is no perfect, organized, neat and tidy anything at the end of the day, in any kind of absolute sense. As much as we might strive for or desire it, there's going to be a storm, there's going to be dust, there's going to be something to sweep it. There's an attitude, and the attitude comes back, primarily with this and wabi-sabi and flow. But it's never anything that I think comes across unintentionally a lot, which is there's this perfect, complete, and formulaic process that you just have to tap into and go through every time.
Yeah.
Like most likely that's not actually even a helpful idea.
Limiting perhaps?
At minimum.
Yeah.
Eventually, yes. The paradox, or the sort of play, and sort of recognizing, okay, that's true, and there's this structure, so how much do I need to pay attention to certain structures? Well, as much as you need to, so that you can live.
Yeah.
So that you can play.
I like this.
So that's all I meant by the, I wouldn't say prickly, but the, where's that?
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Mm-hmm.
Where does the, oh wow, now there's a downpour. Oh shoot, that got blown over.
Yeah.
Somebody spilled something, we gotta clean that up.
Yeah. Let's scroll through. I've got some thoughts on that. That's really helpful.
Yeah.
Let's roll
But
through
I
the
think
rest.
It's well represented in general by wabi-sabi and kintsugi.
Yeah.
So go on.
I'm gonna hold what I
Mm-hmm.
was gonna say.
I'm gonna ask Alana what she's laughing at.
Those
I know she's just sitting there looking at something stupid.
are the best things.
Yeah. Do I need to? Hi.
All right, there's a couple.
I appreciate you recording that, because once I started getting into a flow, I thought, okay, this probably is what I needed to articulate.
When we met the first time, I was,
Well,
and it's hard to
we were
capture
in public.
all of it.
Yeah, better to do some of this not at a cafe. Well, I
But when
don't
we were at
even
your
know-
house,
Oh, right.
first time.
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, at this table.
Yeah. Well, I hope I've been consistent. Do you perceive that I have changed the wording at all? Or the tone? The mood? Have I?
No.
Okay, good.
You've,
I don't think I have.
No,
Good.
you've been consistent. Like, if there's a spectrum, you've been in the same spectrum. The more we talk, the more pieces in that same spectrum I'm learning.
Me too.
And you know, it's
For myself.
yeah, it's that's why doing these exercises are so helpful. Obviously, it's not my world, so there's knowledge that only you will have.
It isn't. It isn't. I know what you mean. It is your world, and it is everybody's world, because what I'm just actually talking about is when the rubber meets the road, or the actual tools that you choose to prioritize utilizing, depending on proclivities, when they're actually called upon to be used, how well do they work?
Yeah. Yeah, it's your theory versus
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
I rewatch Band of Brothers every year.
Yeah.
And I'm rewatching Band of Brothers now
Yeah.
as we speak, and Dick Winters talks about that all the time. It's like
Right.
your training can only take you so far.
Yeah.
It's what happens in the field, and when you have to make those spontaneous flow in the flow of the moment.
And the field is code for real life. Ideally, real life doesn't mean literal war. It
No.
ideally is actually quite pleasant. It's just
Yeah.
even then.
It's just not the
Whatever it is, it's flowing. Something's flowing.
Yeah. I like it.
Hopefully, it's not flowing with bullets flying by your head.
Can be. It is
Figurative
for
or literal.
it is for many, unfortunately.
It is for many. We're probably not targeting those people because there are better settings for that training, for damn sure. I
Yeah.
think. Although, who the hell knows? Maybe not. But not literally targeting that audience.
Right. Yeah. You're not going to be. You're not going
I'm interested in the figurative bullets, but I'm also interested in not even having to be in a situation where you're experiencing something as a figurative bullet. So there you go.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I'm picking up what you're putting down there.
Yeah. But any context is a good reflection, and obviously, I love everything about Band of Brothers as well. So, yeah, and his particular sort of climax was being able to appreciate those images in Switzerland.
3 episodes away from that. Next couple of slides, I'm going to go through a little bit quicker, just to get quick impressions of it.
Yeah, don't let me interrupt this.
No, this is great. You shut your goddamn mouth.
I will. You can tell me
No,
that.
this is good. This is what I captured from when you and I met in August at your table. Immensely helpful.
Okay.
Immensely helpful.
Good.
When I go back to that document regularly.
Good.
So, shut the hell up. We're going to keep going.
Okay.
Stamps.
Yeah,
Kinda
I've read them.
They kind of speak for themselves. And caveat or disclaimer, all this wording is just like really rough. I've been playing with. So if any of it doesn't align, I say just focus on the graphic side of it, right? Brushstrokes,
Oh, I like that.
right? Yeah. Brushstrokes, they are a little bit rougher. They're a little bit more spontaneous. That's why I was drawn to them. If you remember the first mark that people were interpreting as the S, it had that kind of rough edge. It was on a something similar to this.
Yeah. The S.
Now I'm calling it the S. It was the anyway.
Dude, that was a good spiral. Just didn't test well.
And that's what happens.
I think it's still worth using in a different context, though.
Yeah,
I do.
that's important.
No, it's still one of my favorite ones. It might be my favorite one. I'd rather use it somewhere else.
Yeah, and there's a potential for it to show up in icon form in terms of like your social media.
Well, there are 3 of them that I think could work in various settings.
Yeah, of the drafts that I had shown you.
There's that one,
Yeah,
the last one, and then the one with the 2 of them.
interesting. It's funny. In this process, I hadn't brought any of those back
No, don't. I didn't think you
or
were.
into the brand elements.
I'm glad you didn't.
Okay.
I didn't think you were.
Right,
I figured
but you
they
can
were
see
all on the back burner.
they were. But
Yeah.
so, what context are you picturing them?
Well, that goes back to some of these other brands I know where they just play around with different images depending on what, like a shirt.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I could. Yeah, I could see that as well. And I love the first one the S for all intents. I loved it. I thought it worked really well.
Me too.
And anyway, brush strokes, pen strokes, they're not clean. They're messy. They're splattery. It's a little bit more of what you're
Yeah.
what you're talking about. It's not soft. It's not cleanly packaged. It's
Right.
movement on the road. Hand-drawn line work. So there's a bunch that I've created.
Nice.
Like, and the idea for all of these are obviously their nature,
Yeah.
right?
3 different images I see.
But whenever possible, they're also incorporating spirals, circles, like that imagery over and over again. If we could have spirals in your photography, if we could have it in your watermarks, if we could have it, like, it's not in the logo, and I think that's fine. And actually, I think it's great for what we're collectively going for.
Mhm.
That said, I love the idea of having that infused in the brand, in your space, on the wall, on your business card, whatever it might be.
Mhm.
Patterns, incorporating spirals in limited capacity. In this sense, can it be a border? Can it be exactly what you're seeing here, right? How can we incorporate patterns in different ways? So these next 2 slides are more advanced mock-ups of what you've seen before. Like the mock-ups with the business cards, if you recall, they were from like very early on in the process. So this is taking it a bit further and incorporating all the previous slides into what it could look like. Obviously, an iPad version of the homepage,
Okay.
right? Big, bold, warm imagery of people in nature or with other people. Quotes. This is one that I've been playing around with based off of some of our
You
earlier
wrote this?
comments. I did, yeah.
Okay.
Growth was something that you've taught. I seem to come up a lot. So growth is always possible. We believe in that's a typo. We believe in perpetual growth. So it won't look like that on the website. We believe in perpetual growth, where movement is a lifelong journey of self-improvement, of community and of self-improvement and community connection. Anyway, you get the idea.
Uh-huh.
So homepage on the
It's easier to
website.
read than the Latin.
Can this be the inside of a booklet? Can this be a one-page document? Can this be a layout for a web page? It could be any and or all of them. Once again, it's incorporating hand-drawn elements, spirals, the fonts, the colors, the warm natural imagery, the pattern, all of it. And your business card, which I think you mentioned that we've talked about business cards, right? Incorporates the logo, incorporates the colors, the contrasting fonts, the spirals, the gold.
This is a front and a back?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Leaning into the gold and the black and the green and the black, they have
Charcoal and the spruce and the sunrise.
bingo. That's exactly right. Those colors especially the charcoal and the sunrise, they have, legacy, people identify them with sophistication and, more
I see
high-end,
that.
high-end, right?
Yeah. I get it. Okay.
And the last one.
The letterhead.
Letterhead with your watermarks, the appropriate sized logo,
That's a cell phone version.
right? Cell phone version of
Oh, I
a page,
love that.
a page on the website, right? Like,
Would that change as somebody scrolled down? Or we'll see.
and that's where concept meets application.
Yeah.
Like, is that something we can do on
It's the
Squarespace?
front of the pamphlet or something.
That's the front of a travel pamphlet.
Great.
And the thing, I'm glad you picked up on this. Like, I love, as you've seen, I love overlapping.
Well, yeah, this is depending on how you scroll. The texture either.
Yeah.
You can tell it's like a front and back, foreground, background, or not.
Exactly.
I get it.
And I think, by my mind, it gets closer to what you were getting at. Like, it's not clean. It's not. It's not segregated. Things are overlapping and touching, and it's a little bit messy, but in a way that's still pleasing. I think we don't want everything perfectly not touching ever. Overlap is great. And I think we can go even, based on what you're talking about, go even more in that direction, potentially, without it being too chaotic.
Yeah.
That's it. And coming soon is the next portion of values and language and all that stuff.
Which I guess you can use the test, so to speak, for.
What test?
I think we did. What was that first part?
Oh, the brain personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, that influences
Use
it,
that.
for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
So that's it in its entirety. That's the draft form,
Okay.
soup to nuts. We've been talking the whole way through, but give me your thoughts. Give me your thinkings.
Well, is it worth it for me to look through this on my own?
Of course.
more? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I don't expect this to be the final say.
Yeah.
I'll be sending you this document with some minor modifications, and I want you to sit with it. I want you to think about it, and then think about it very intently, and don't think about it at all.
Yeah.
And then hopefully something intuitive will come to you. But no, in this moment, I guess what I'm looking for is like, okay, Joe, you did this, and I
I
that's
think other than when we decided to start recording, great. And that's not bad. It was just that particular branch that we decided let's record some of that. I think
Yeah.
other than this, it's all there.
do you?
And I don't know if this needs to be there.
Hmm?
You wanted this.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess now that you've seen the whole thing, the other component that you're talking about, like,
Yeah.
does that feel missing from this?
I think it is going to be imagery dependent, video dependent.
Mhm.
The things that we can do the pictures and the videos. So if that is essentially true, that we'll just get that more clear in videos and pictures.
Yeah, hell,
then-
this image here, instead of some woman stretching in the park, it can be you sweating it out with
Yeah.
doing, I don't know, whatever you do, doing the rope things and the lifting something
None of that
heavy.
bullshit. It's all more innovative.
Whatever.
But sure, generally, yeah, I think we'll get it more in the imagery and the videos.
Mhm. It's a huge component, absolutely.
But the only one that I'm commenting on. So, in other words, in terms of it all there, this is just one piece. Why is it the one that stands out to me? Just because I guess I can sense that it's critical in some marketing capacity.
Mhm.
I mean, just because we're on this page, you hand drew that?
No, that was from an image
Oh,
that I
that's nice.
traced out in a built-in
Yeah.
Illustrator.
These are beautiful. There's just a lot of variety, a lot of detail, and you said it's a draft. It's a great draft. It's definitely going in a really nice direction, to say the least. So
Good. Okay, that's
that there's so many little things, like show me the letterhead again. Like I thought, okay, maybe that's centered, but
Mhm.
those are the kinds of things, like to whatever extent you want me to comment on. Now, let's not. And
no. That's a great.
Yeah, I don't
It's a
need
great way to talk about it. Like this
Yeah.
this is big picture. Does it feel right?
Yes,
Like we've covered the colors, we've covered the fonts. Like if there was
especially because you explained a lot of that. Yes,
Good.
for sure. Colors, fonts,
yeah,
absolutely.
that's really what I'm looking for.
Absolutely.
Like big picture. Like are there any?
I think I'm more in the minutia. I get into the.
Which is
nitty-gritty
great.
Right
I
away.
mean, and that's where
Mhm.
the rubber. We go from. I love that part of the process. You go from wide aperture, narrow aperture. Like that's what. This
Without
whole process
really, I'm not
is.
even trying to. It's just what happens. But
Yeah.
I don't pretend that that's the only part that matters. It's just
Have to-
it's what I bring to the table in general. So
But what you're talking about, that is the next step.
Good.
If you're saying, yes, this is the direction, this all feels right, colors, fonts, et cetera,
yes,
we can start to move to that
Absolutely.
next level of like, these are all just mock-ups. The real ones, the homepage is going to look different. This is going to look different. That's going to look different. So
Yeah, different copy, less Latin, etc.
no, that's actually going to be in the brand guide. You have to.
The
You're
more I
going to
see
communicate all in Latin.
Co-Brew Movement Studio, it's really nice to just keep getting more and more comfortable with that too. Yeah, I mean, the answer is yes.
Okay, so you sit with this. I will send it to you. It looks slightly different, some massaging and some tweaks, and get your comments, get your things that come to you. Maybe you haven't thought about today that will come to you in the next couple of days.
Maybe, and a lot of it's on here, which is good.
Yeah.
Probably